Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to do another Beebeecraft project share, and we are going to use the Peacock Brocade and the black velvet to make an oracle bag. And so I was looking around my decks trying to decide what deck would go great with this beautiful Peacock Brocade, which will be linked down below in case you're interested in getting this or anything else. And remember, you can use code MISTY10 for 10% off your entire order. But I decided my Mystical Wisdom deck would be perfect to go with this. In fact, it even has, I just realized it even has peacocks on it and peacock feathers on the cover here. This is one of my first decks because I've always loved Josephine Wall's artwork, and so I literally had got this just for her artwork. But I feel like this is a great match for the Peacock Brocade. So that is what we're going to do today. I've already cut the fabric out, and I don't really measure. I use my actual deck to make sure that it'll fit, because all decks are different, and I like to be able to put my books in with my cards. I know a lot of people like to read intuitively, or when it comes to tarot, they already know the tarot meaning, so they don't necessarily may not want the deck. I made some bags for some friends of mine, and I made them on the bigger side so that they had the option, if they wanted their book in with their deck in the bag, there would be room for it. So I make mine for room for the book, and I measure, when I'm making a bag for myself, I measure it around the deck to make sure that deck will actually fit in there. And this is really slippery, so we have to keep making sure that we're lined up. So what I have here is I have a layer of felt to add a little cushion, a little padding to the bag to protect our deck. Then I have my black velvet from Beebeecraft, and it's with the velvet facing up, so this is the right side of the fabric. And then I have my Peacock Brocade, which is actually double-sided. You can use it either way. I want the darker blue to be facing out. So we're putting our two main pieces of fabric, our inside and outside of our bag, facing each other, right sides facing each other. And then we have that on top of our black felt. And next, what I'm going to go do, which I'm not doing the sewing on camera just because I don't have a setup where that will work. But I'm going to one of the ends, and I'm going to sew across here, but I'm going to leave a gap. You want a decent sized gap because you're going to turn this inside out. When you're done, this ends up being a fully reversible bag. So I'm going to sew from the corner to here, and then lift up, stop sewing, and then come back down and start sewing from here to here. So only these two parts will be sewed. This part will be left open. And I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and as you can see, I sewed along this edge and left the gap in the middle. Now, I don't know if this fabric will let me do it. It's good to try to finger press it down, and this isn't necessary, it's just helpful later on. If you want to finger press it down and then kind of move it down where the gap is. And then on this side, where the gap is, we will cut the felt a little. Cut that out. And then I'm actually going to cut all of this felt here. just so that the seams aren't too bulky. Get the glue off here so it doesn't get on my fabric. All right, so we're going to pull this back. The brocade kind of sheds a little, so just get that out of there. Here is our seam. So this is our black velvet right here, and underneath is the felt. And we've pulled back the Peacock Brocade, and we're kind of pressing this seam here. So we're going to take this seam, we're going to grab it, and we're going to pull it up about 1/3 of the way, like this. And then we're going to grab our Peacock Brocade and fold it up like this. Okay. So we've got our bottom layer here with the velvet and the felt. And then we grabbed the seam and pulled that up, folded that up to here. And now we're grabbing our top layer of brocade and folding it up to here. And this is the point where you can make sure everything is nice and straight. Make sure everything is as straight and neat as can be. All right, and we are going to use some pins to pin the corners. So that they hopefully don't move too much while we're sewing. And then here is where we put our ribbon or elastic or whatever we're using. And I don't have, all my buttons were for crafting, and so they're the little buttons. And I don't have any buttons that really, you know, bring out the beauty of this fabric. However, I was searching around trying to find something, and I do have this peacock brooch pin that I got for 50 cents because I was going to maybe put it on my journal. However, now I don't think I have a spot for it on my journal. So I thought that could be our closure, and we could use a piece of elastic that wraps around it almost like this is the button. So I cut a piece of elastic. It's blue with iridescence. And we lift just the top layer, just the peacock brocade. And we place that in here. This way, you want your loop on the inside. I think that's plenty big enough. Early in the morning, and my fingers don't want to work yet. And then so now what we're going to do is we are going to sew from this corner all the way down this side, all the way across here, and all the way back up to here. We will not sew across the top edge, okay? And when I get to this part, I do go back and forth several times to make sure this is really nice and secure, because it'll get a lot of tugging and everything when you're putting your elastic around your button or whatever you're using. That should be good. So I'm going to go sew and I'll be right back. I have sewn all the way around. So we're going to remove our pins. And cut the excess fabric. And then I always do clip my corners. All right. So now we've got this part in here. Let's cut these strings. If you see, you've got this pouch in here, and then at the bottom of the pouch is that gap that we left open on the very first line when we sewed across and we left that gap. That's down in the bottom of this pouch. So we're going to reach our fingers down through that hole, grab our elastic or ribbon or whatever we used for a closure, and start pulling this inside out, or right side out in this case. And so that's why you do want to make sure you leave a gap big enough to be able to pull all the fabric through. All right. So now we just got to get all of our corners pulled out. Start getting our shape together here. And then we do have our hole here, so we can hand stitch that together or do a fancy stitch across the whole top here, whatever you prefer. Look at that. And then here is our tarot bag or oracle bag, whatever we want to use it for. That is so pretty. Let's try, fingers crossed, my idea of using this beautiful peacock pin. It's got some string on it. We'll put it sideways. Yep, and this is big enough. So now let's try it with our deck. Oh, now that the deck's in there, the flap is shorter, so now I really do need to put it. I had it in a good position the first time, but all right. Let me get this right and I'll be right back. I got it moved up a little higher. I just didn't want you guys to sit there and watch me keep fiddling with it. And our elastic works. So we have this gorgeous Peacock Brocade velvet lined bag for a deck of cards, and I'm so happy that I found my little brooch that I had bought for my peacock journal because I think it just adds that beautiful opulent touch to this gorgeous bag. This Peacock Brocade is amazing. And so I think it's the perfect touch. Tell me what you think down below and if you're going to try to make your own bags. I hope you all have a magical day. Bye.